As I'm sure anybody with a Facebook account noticed, Friday was National Siblings Day. Since we seem to be really into celebrating holidays after they happen, this week's topic is favorite fictional siblings. I'm gonna start this topic by saying that I have sort of a general gripe, which is like the lack of really awesome fictional siblings. I love my siblings, that's the longest relationship that I'm gonna have in this life, and I have just a general grievance that I have complained about like here, just in all the SnarkSquad places, about how I think that romantic relationships are grossly overprivileged in most media, and I just really, really wish that like all of the other kinds of relationships, important relationships people have in their lives, were given their proper due in more stories. I made a fun quick list of fictional siblings, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how this topic plays out because I imagine that there's a bunch of really great ones that I missed. First up, my honorable mentions: Ellie and Chuck from Chuck, Monica and Ross from Friends, Seth and Ryan from The OC. It's, you know, they're not really brothers, but they're like adopted brothers. And see, that's sort of like what I'm talking about though, right? Like all the kinds of the relationships, they're all really, really important. Like they're not blood siblings, but like they're siblings, and it's, you know, it's good. It's good. All of the Weasleys, I'm making them one big category in the Harry Potter books, and this is a questionable entry because they're like the creepiest, weirdest siblings, but like I can't make this video without mentioning Riff Raff and Magenta from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like they're the fucking weirdest, and they're actually not role model siblings, but I had to throw that in there. I often talk about how I am the absolute worst when it comes to like ranking things and making lists, but I think I have my remaining 4 actually into like a proper ranking system. Coming in at number 4, the Bennett sisters from Pride and Prejudice. I think I'm gonna give the edge specifically to the Lizzie Bennet Diaries version of the Bennett sisters, just because I think we got to see a lot more of the sisterly dynamic in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries adaptation of the series, but like I just love the Bennett sisters in general. I mean, like obviously my girl Elizabeth Bennet feels me. On my whole, all the kinds of relationships are important thing. I just love the whole dynamic of the Bennett sisters, and I love all of the different kinds of relationships that we get to see between the different sisters because they're all different people. Like they're sisters and they're related and they love each other, but also they're just very different people, and I think that's lovely. I love them. They give me all the sister feels. Coming in at number 3, Simon and River. This one was really close, and I think that if Firefly had lasted longer, Simon and River would have edged out number 2, but with only the 1 season in the movie, it's hard for me to give them the edge over my number 2. But Firefly and Weed and Stuff in general is a really great example of this idea that you have a whole bunch of really different kinds of super important relationships. I really love how all of this stuff that is typically reserved for kind of romantic plots, the sort of sacrifice and protection and all of those things that kind of go back and forth between the two of them. I love seeing that played out in this sibling relationship. Coming in at number 2 is Buffy and Dawn. I went back and forth on this because Buffy and Dawn also have some major low moments, but again, this is because of how much longer we get to see them, and like siblings also have some low moments, you know? It's not always sunshine and roses. Sometimes you're shitty to each other. Even though Dawn was sort of mythically created and the time is sort of artificial and like not real, I guess, they still very much embody this thing that I think is kind of common to a relationship that is as long-lasting and as important as a sibling relationship, in that they very much bring out the kind of best and worst in each other when they are at their best and worst. And coming in at number 1, Katniss and Prim. Even though I Volunteer as Tribute has become such a total meme, that moment still just fucking kills me. I lose my shit during that part of the book every time, and I cry, or at the very least choke up every time I see it in the movie as well. My sister hasn't read the books, but we saw the last movie together, and as soon as they all go down into the like shelter or whatever because they're getting attacked by the Capitol and Katniss realizes that she can't find Prim, my little sister looks to me and she's like, "It's the cat, huh?" She says this to me like seconds before Katniss says it on screen, and then a little bit later, I think like at the end of the search or somewhere in that whole little bit, she turns to me real quietly and whispers, "I would have gone back for the cat too." And that of course is the heart of why I love sibling stories so much, because that stuff just really like connects with me. I don't know, that's like reflective of my experience of being a person. I'm aware that there are many experiences of being a person, but this is a big part of mine. So that's my list. I'm sure that Kirsti and Mari both have fantastic things coming up. Mari is actually gonna be in California on Friday with me, so I don't know what her game plan is. We're gonna try to get these kind of scheduled early, so maybe she'll have it up. Once again though, we would love to see you all participate in Segway Magic Saturday. Make your own video about fictional siblings on Saturday and like send us the link or post it to Twitter or Tumblr with the hashtag SegwayMagic. We will find it and then compile them all into a lovely sort of wrap-up post.